All right, welcome back. So we've done a lot with CRUD. We did create, we did read, we did delete. The only one we're missing is update, which is also called edit, right? So in this video, we're going to show editing. We're going to do it from the detail view controller, and we're going to kind of show you how we're going to set that up. So one of the first things we're going to need is in that detail view controller, we're going to need a way to edit. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some tricks we learned last time about adding bar button items, and we're going to add an edit button to call a function called show edit quote dialog. If you're lazy like me, you probably enjoy borrowing code, right? So from yourself, which is a great place to do things. And we added a bar button in the master view. I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to come into the detail view, and inside the view did load, I'm just going to paste it right there. So it's close to what I want. It's got a right bar button item. Bar button item style of add. Well, I don't want add. I actually want edit, which is great. And then I'm going to have it call a function called show, I'll call it edit quote dialog. So I need to make that function. I'll go ahead and put it below my view will appear. So I've got show edit quote dialog. I think that it might in this way pass a sender, but you don't need it for anything. And so now we should have an edit button, and what I like to do is I like to just kind of make sure everything works out great, and I'm just going to present edit this quote. I'm going to run it, and I'm going to see if everything works. And you can see I've got my two hard-coded quotes. You'll notice that like that giant one I typed in the last video got just blown away because it didn't actually get saved. And so you can see it says, I'll be back, Terminator. I've got an edit button. When I click on edit, it says, edit this quote. Super. If you look at what this method is called, it's called show edit quote dialog. So I actually want to show a dialog box similar to what I did before. So I'm going to go copy some more code, right? So I had an add quote dialog. I'm just going to copy this whole darn method and then start modifying it, right? No reason to reinvent the wheel. So I added it in. There are some syntax errors in some places. That's fine. There's some things I need to change. But it'll get me started, and it'll be a lot faster this way. So right now it says create a new movie quote. I'm going to make that say edit movie quote. It's got a placeholder for the quote. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. But what I would like to do is I would like to pre-populate the text with what the current movie quote's text is. So I'll say movie quote dot quote, and I'll let my compiler help me that it chose to add a question mark there. I must be in a closure because it's yelling at me to add the word self, so I'll say self dot because I'm inside of a closure. Great. Movie title, very similar game. I'm going to say, hey, text field, movie quote, movie. So that way there is a starting point there, and if they delete the entire starting point, they'll see the placeholder. So that's exactly what I want there. Cancel, which says press cancel on a log. I probably don't need that log, but I'll just leave it alone. Probably if you don't need the handler at all, you could have passed a nil here, but I'll leave it as saying press cancel. Instead of create quote, I'll say edit quote. Quote text field, that's the same. Movie text field, that's the same. Here it's creating a movie, so really, like, all of this stuff is different, right? So I had syntax errors anyway, so I'm just going to blow that away. I didn't need that. And really what I want to do is I just want to change the quote to be equal to whatever the quote is in the text field, so whatever his text is. So that's what I want to do for the quotes. Just pull out from the quote text field what the text is. I'm going too fast this video. I realize that. But it's a video, right? So if you would like to go back and look at things, I strongly encourage you to go back and look at things that you need. I'll just kind of do a quick summary here. So I've got an edit button. It calls this function. So here's this function. I copied a bunch of code from the other view controller, and I just went through kind of modifying it top to bottom. And honestly, at this point, I've just modified the quote, which is great. What I do need to do, though, is if I modify the quote, that's super, I've modified it, but it won't be visible to anybody. So I need to update the view. So I actually need to do these two lines again. Whenever I need to do the same thing, I could type it again, or I could just make a little method. I think this time I'm going to make a little method just called update view. So if I make a little update view method, so update view, and inside of it, I just update both of those guys, then I can actually just call it from here. So if I say update view, it'll make that change reflected. Oh, it's going to say self dot because I'm in a closure. And that's pretty common, right? Whenever you've got a code that's run exactly the same in multiple places, you factor it out into a function. And I like calling it update view because it's easy to know what's going on. All right, so I'm updating the view when it appears. I'm also updating the view if they choose to edit the quote. Let's try it. So I run it. It's got my hard-coded quotes. I've got an edit button. I click on edit, and I add an exclamation point to I'll be back. I click on edit quote, and presto, you can see updates my view. Voila. Not quite done. Click on back. My exclamation point is not there. I can go into this one. It has an exclamation point. Good for it. But there's no exclamation point here. If you click on it, it actually, that's kind of weird. It reappears in the detail view. And that's because we did update the underlying data. We passed in a reference to the object. We modified that object. So we did update the underlying data. The problem is this table didn't get reloaded, right? Because you only see the last time it reloaded. So the thing we're missing is reloading this table. That's actually fairly easy to do. And what I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to go back over into the master, right? And I'm just going to override the view will appear function. I'm going to call super first because that is always good practice. And then after that, I'm just going to say table view reload data. So now whenever it appears, it'll call reload data. There's a potential inefficiency when it first loads, but I'm not worried about that. Let's try our change now. Now I've got back, I'll be back with no exclamation point. I come into here. I'm going to add 3 exclamation points this time, just to be different. It calls update view here, and then as soon as I go back, it'll reload the table for me. So I click on back, reloads the table, and voila, 3 exclamation points. So that is actually it for the core part of this app. So we've got our create, we've got our read, we've got our update, we've got our delete, we've got all of our CRUD. We've got a pretty awesome app. So to be honest, you might think we're done because if you go to our first page, we said we were going to make create, which we did, read, which we did, update, which we did, and then delete, which we did a previous video. So we've kind of done all of these. The only thing we haven't done is this word right here, core data. So right now, if somebody adds a bunch of quotes and then they close the app and then they bring it back up, will they be there? Will they not be there? It turns out that they will be there, but if the app somehow leaves memory, heck, I'll just do it. So here I've got 3 exclamation points. If I hit home and then come back in, it actually stays, which is kind of cool. But if you end up leaving memory, which there's a bunch of ways to do, so somebody throws you out, then, it crashed in this case, then you've lost all of that data, right? You get kicked out of memory for a couple reasons. Somebody turns their phone off, somebody manually kicks you out of memory, or some other app needs resources. And in all those cases, every quote you just typed is gone, right? Because it's just being saved in variables. And that is not a great way to go. So we're going to talk about backing this thing with core data, which is going to be a whole big topic next time. All right. See you then. We've got all the UI stuff done, and we'll start learning about core data next time.